Right? And I'm not playing no games. Yeah.
Hey, I am Pops, and I want to talk about Hellboy. That's right, the Crooked Man. Yes, it is going to happen. And yes, I have misspoke. Is it animated? Is it not? I've been back and forth with different stories and reports. Reality is this: it's a live action reboot. I'm kind of surprised this is moving so quickly, but I want to talk about it. Give you the latest on who's been here cast in this film. You can see here Hellboy reboot. The Crooked Man adds Yellowstone star Jefferson White, Resident Evil Adeline Rudolph. So I am not super familiar with a lot of the cast that has been added to this, but I want to kind of talk about the comic book a little bit, what people can expect, and what my thoughts are on it. So, with that, this is a Deadline story. They broke the news first. They explained that Jefferson White, who's Yellowstone, he will play Tom Farrell. So he's basically going to be the star of this film. For those of you that are Hellboys, you know the story. We'll get to that in just a moment. Bobby Joe Song is Adeline Rudolph's character, and of course Jack Casey, I think he's a Deadpool too, but he's been in some other stuff as well. But he really hasn't had like a big role like this on this sort of caliber. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Brian Taylor, he's going to be directing. And then, of course, Mike Mignola and Chris Golden have been working on the script. Now, the movie's due to shoot in a couple weeks in Bulgaria. We'll see Hellboy stranded in the 1950s rural Appalachia with a rookie BPRD agent. They discover a small community haunted by witches, led by a local devil with the troubled connection to Hellboy's past, quote, the Crooked Man. Now, that doesn't read exactly like the comic book, but it's enough, right? So they've got this, BPRD agent, so it's a little bit different because in the comic book it's really just Hellboy walking around. Whereas I think here we're probably going to have more of a tie to the future and some things like that. I don't know. Maybe there is going to be time travel. I'm not sure. I know. The Crooked Man will be the first film in Millennium's development slate with Telepool, the German film and TV distributor owned by Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, which I found interesting. Pick will be presented associated with Dark Horse Entertainment. Okay, so that's basically there. And this is just the who's who kind of thing here. Rudolph's best known for roles in Resident Evil, and then the chilling adventures of Sabrina and Riverdale. Yeah, so that's kind of that. And then, so here's the story: Crooked Man. Now, Crooked Man is actually just a very short mini series. There's only 3 issues back in 2008. Very well acclaimed. Like I think it won the Eisner Award. Has a very unique look and feel to it. Here's what the graphic novel looks like if you're looking to get a copy. That was issue number 1. This is issue number 1 of the floppies. This is actually one of the graphic novels. Now, in the graphic novel, you're going to have multiple Hellboy stories. This just happens to be one of them, probably the most acclaimed there. Give you a couple of sample pages here for you. So this is what the look of the art is. It's just definitely a little bit different. This is the way Hellboy is drawn in this issue. He goes on this journey with Tom, and Tom has kind of been sucked into all of this. He's come home. He has a history of witchcraft and selling his soul to the devil, so to speak, and he doesn't want to use it. Like he has regrets. So he really is tied to the past of what he's agreed with is getting that power, but not necessarily a user of magic. A little bit of the different elements here where Tom is pointing out witch balls and different things that are used. You can see the X over the Bible, those kinds of things here, the very early phases of the story. And then, of course, they find this skeleton less skin, like this outer body left behind, which is kind of a cool moment in the book. And then, of course, he's pointing up here. This little bone right here is the bone that his lucky bone. That's the one that's tied to this magic. And he's explaining his ritual. He's explaining how he fell into sort of the dark magic and the occult. And of course, this is the image of the Crooked Man. So the Crooked Man has a backstory as well, as far as being this miser and kind of like a deal with the devil kind of thing here. That's what you see. And then, of course, this raccoon comes back in and kind of takes place by crawling inside the mouth and then basically erecting that skin into an actual body. Now, this is another character as well that's also in this as well as a witch riding on this horse. And there's this bridle. And when Tom takes the bridle off, it's a magic bridle and it's revealed to be Tom's dad. And Tom wasn't home, so he didn't get to see his dad. Here, his dad basically passes at his feet. It's very tragic. The bridle is magic. That's what had him in the horse form. And then of course, the dad dies. So they set off on a journey to bury the body. That's what is like thrown over Tom's shoulder. And you have the other people going on this journey. And then you have this backstory of this area, the witchcraft, the magic users, the dark magic, and all of that. It's set in the past. I will say the one thing I think that's very interesting about this that kind of needs to be said is that there is not a lot of action in this version. Like there's not much action at all. There's a couple of moments where he pulls out Big Baby. He's firing a few rounds. He takes on a few things. I want to see if I could show you anything else that Matt. Yeah, there's just not a lot of action. It's a very small scale, safe way to do a Hellboy story. The only way that's going to work is if the performance and the dialogue are so good. It's a lot about witches. He doesn't tend to have a lot of sort of like the funny or the one-liners that Ron Perlman's version kind of brought to life and really made the character really shine, especially in the first Hellboy movie. I didn't dislike the second one. I think there were some elements that just totally went awry. I didn't care for as much, but I didn't hate it. I will say though that it is the kind of thing that is kind of surprising. That's the direction they're going to go in. So anyway, that's my take on it. You guys can tell me what you guys think. If you're looking forward to this, not looking forward to this, you guys can tell me. Anyway, I am Pops.